I'm going to walk you through that portion of it, and then I'll also show you at the end more of a management type of portal, customer portal type of thing that we can do it in a web type of environment also. So we'll concentrate on the mobile application itself. I'll show you some of the components of our dispatch piece that could very easily integrate, and we have integrated with systems like TMW in the past. So I'll be able to show you that and how we can push that to the mobile devices once it's been dispatched or routed, basically from that type of system. And then in the back end, more of a, like I said, a management portal type of thing. So first, I just wanted to kind of give you an idea about MobileFrame. The architectures we play in, and some of the things we do in different verticals to kind of manage that. So can you see my screen then, Andrew?
I can. Yep.
Okay. So a little bit about us. We've been around since 2001. You'll hear me talk about the whole ease of use and rapid deployment. So, MobileFrame is a mobile development platform. We just happen to have a lot of different customers for the last, 16 years basically that we've been in business, that we've created some what we call off-the-shelf applications, and some of those are like proof of delivery applications, DSD applications, direct store delivery. The app that I'm going to show you, the courier application, a lot in healthcare, a lot in construction, a lot in transportation. So there's a lot of different verticals that we deal with. But I wanted to, I want to make sure that I leave the foundation that, you have the ability to, within our platform, customize any of these applications. So you can look at these applications as a stepping stone or a base to what you want to utilize, and then make changes internally yourselves, because we're a no-code environment. So basically, someone like yourself, Andrew, could go in very easily and make changes to an application and deploy that. And I'll show you that how we can do that very easily. So we're a very global company, 51 countries, and a very mature product. So over 16 years in the market and over 2,200 deployments utilized across the globe. We're headquartered out of Los Gatos, California. I'm on the East Coast, kind of managing the East Coast of North America. But our office and training facility and all that is based out of the California office there. So just a little bit about app architectures, and you may know some of this stuff, but you may not. But I just want to give you an understanding of what we can do within our application. So really, there are three main app architectures out there. There's a web application, hybrid, and native. So web is more based upon, it's like and I'll show you a web-based application on my desktop here. It's a URL that you're connecting to from any Internet Explorer. But in order to utilize those types of applications, whether it's on a mobile device or a desktop, you need an internet connection to obviously connect to those. So sometimes obviously when your guys are out in the field, they may not have internet connection. So they would probably filter towards more of what we call a native application, and that's on the other end of the spectrum. So native applications are applications that can work in a disconnected or a connected mode. So my app doesn't stop working because I don't have connectivity to the internet or a Wi-Fi connection type of thing. So I'm able to continue to work through my app, gather information, query information, whatever that app is requiring me to do. And then when I do have connectivity, I'm actually sending that information across back to TMW or wherever that information is residing or flowing back to, type of thing. So these in between there is more of a hybrid. So again, hybrid is probably more on the side of a web type of application, but has some native containers that you can utilize, like the camera and GPS components and stuff like that. So MobileFrame is providing one single platform for all of these approaches. So you can write different web types of applications. So kind of think, obviously I'm going to show you a courier application that can be customized to meet your requirements, but you may have other requirements down the road. DVIR is a huge thing that's coming across in your industry. And we've written an application for that, but maybe you want to create a survey application, or there's a lot of different things that you may be manually managing through a paper process today, and you have the ability to use our platform, whether that's a web application or a native application, to write your own applications and deploy them yourselves down the road if you wanted to. So we give you that ability to do that. To kind of give you an idea of some of the different components that you can manage, kind of a 360-degree view of some of the things you can do. So we talked about a customer portal. I'll show you the courier one that we have that can kind of be tailored into your kind of needs. But in something in an application like that, you can have customers log in, place orders, check their jobs, change their service dates, whatever you want to do to kind of manage that. You have the ability to kind of create those and modify those to kind of meet your requirements. Dispatching, you have a lot of this stuff in place, but we do have a lot of customers that utilize MobileFrame as their dispatch function or scheduling type of function, and I'll show you a little bit about that. Obviously, the mobile workers is a key component to that. Real data, whether that's a web or a native type of application like we talked about, the ability to take photos, scan products, all of those things, signature captures, all those great things that a mobile worker can do to kind of manage that, and then take that information and obviously populate that to external data systems. And then more of a management type of view where management may have their own KPIs and things that they want to see. So you can develop your own dashboards and such based upon user logins, whatever that may be. And then, for Michael, for example, is the director of transportation. So he may be able to have certain things that he wants to look at. He can create his own dashboard to kind of manage that and look at that information in real time, and make business decisions based upon that. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to spend more time showing you the applications, but just things that I probably won't have time to touch on, but we can dive into deeper at a later time. But obviously with our platform, if you do have additional mobile applications, then you need the ability to kind of manage those projects, and we give you the tools to kind of manage those things. Multi-language support, SOX compliancy messaging, so the ability to actually message people or resources out in the field, and have that secure and encrypted to kind of manage that. Device management types of situations. So if you do have resources out in the field and you need to support them somehow, so a back office type of what they call MDM type of service, where you can actually see the device itself, you can understand the memory, the battery life, all those different components to that, and I'll show you a little bit of that. But the ability to kind of manage that. Integration Wizard is important, so we've built in a tool to help us integrate with a lot of different data sources, because there are so many out there. So we're an enterprise class mobile solution, so we need to have the ability to be able to interface or integrate with multiple data sources, whether that's an ERP system, whether that's a TMW type of system, or a CRM, or there's a ton of different types of systems that you can pull data and push data back to. And with the Integration Wizard, helps us kind of really simplify that integration process for that. You guys probably have a lot of these things in terms of the GPS service tracker in place already with some of your tools, but we have our own built in also to kind of track the mobile devices and things like that, which you could probably tie in very easily to the ones you're utilizing today. So you can see some of the different customers that we're dealing with. Irving is one of our probably biggest transportation company. Midland Transport is one of our bigger customers, and they're based out of Canada. But you can see, a lot of different types of verticals in the healthcare with Baxter. TNG's probably one of the biggest magazine distributors, and such, and Mission Foods is a tortilla distributor, huge 4,000 route distributor out west, and things like that. So you can see some different types of customers and different verticals that we deal with. We're not really pigeonholed into one area, but give you a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to switch.
Are
Do you have
most of the customers you showed me using all of it, like the dispatching side as well as the proof of delivery side?
Yeah, so some do, some don't. So some of them actually will take components of the suite. So I'll show you the different components of that, and you can kind of make your decision. Some just use the mobile piece. Some just use MobileFrame and create their own applications. There's a lot of differences in terms of how they can utilize our system. So and sometimes I have maybe a hard time or getting this message across. So when you buy MobileFrame, obviously you're getting a development platform. So with that development platform, you may have the courier application that you can utilize, tailor or customize to meet your mobile needs or your dispatch needs or your your portal needs, whether that's a management dashboard and things like that. So I'm going to show you all of those components. You may not necessarily use them all, but just to kind of give you an idea of what you can use. And then within those components, you can customize that to meet your requirements. So if you wanted to start off and create a simple app, and I'll show you the driver app, and it's fairly straightforward. But if you needed to, I know you guys are looking for more line item details, and you had some barcodes on those packing slips that you had sent me. So you can utilize the same logic if you wanted to, where I have to scan those barcodes to pick up the customer information or the item information based upon that, and it'll automatically populate that information into the mobile device, and then I can manage pickups and deliveries and all those things. Yeah, you can tailor it again to meet your business needs, and I'll show you how you can do that. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, let me just jump gears here. So I'm going to show you the first piece I'm going to show you is the dispatch piece. So all I have here is, so one of the key things here is that you write one application and it can deploy across multiple operating systems. So this is very important to understand, especially if you're bring your own type of device scenario. I know that you had said you guys have Windows tablets, correct? Is that what you were saying, Andrew, before you were utilizing or not utilizing to the fullest, but you have some tablets in place?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you can actually utilize the mobile app that I'm going to show you in a Windows environment, an iOS environment, or an Android environment. So what I mean by that is I'm not writing a separate application for each of those operating systems or different form factors for that matter, whether it's a phone or a tablet or whatever. I'm writing one application and it's able to reside across all of those operating systems. So the key here is that you may have Windows tablets today. You may be down the road saying, you know what, we're gonna get out of that operating system and go to an iOS type of environment. The same application will be able to resonate on those new iOS environments or those new Android, Samsung tablets or whatever you're utilizing, without making major changes and going back to a software vendor to make those changes. So device agnostic, and ability to grow with you guys as technology changes very easily and be able to manage that, because hardware can be a very expensive part when you become mobile, especially if you're making changes to those. And we see it a lot more in direct store delivery, DSD types of environments, because they use a lot of ruggedized hardware. And what happens is they become end of life. So the suppliers of the hardware change the design and functionality and technology within that. So they spend a big capital expenditure on hardware, and then they become end of life, and they have to come up with a new type of solution every 4 or 5 years. So the ability to be able to utilize MobileFrame to kind of manage that, and not change the software to meet the hardware requirements is huge. So what you're looking at here, and I'll kind of set this up, is this is kind of more of my dispatch screen, but it has the ability to do some other things like manage some customers and location management. We can come in here and we can see a list of customers. If you click on those, go ahead.
I am.
Oh,
I'm
you're
just
not seeing
seeing
it?
the introduction. There we go.
You good?
Yep, good now.
Helps when I share my screen. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So again, a lot of the stuff that I'm showing you here may be information that you have within TMW itself. So you may only utilize this the scheduling and dispatch piece as we push those dispatched orders or deliveries across. And we would see those in our dispatch menu, and then from there we'd be able to apply that to a mobile device from there. So TMW would be managing the same way that you do today, and the only thing would be not different, but instead of generating paperwork to give to the drivers, you would actually push this to a Windows type of application like this, where we could push those to the appropriate drivers from there, based upon that, or again directly to TMW, and we could bypass this information also. So I'm not going to spend too much time on here because I think you have a lot of this functionality in the current system that you have. But here you can just see we have customer information that we can edit here. Billing rates, things like that you can again customize. So if I needed to add an additional field here very easily, I could manage that myself internally. And update this particular screen based upon that. We also have the ability to add new customers, our location management. So, pickups or delivery locations, and you can set up different types of delivery locations. You can send, have what we call workflow confirmations in the back end. So as I pick something up, someone defined as the appropriate person to receive that information could give notification through an email or things like that to kind of, and I'll show you that on how you can kind of manage some of those emails and in those different areas. um, automatic invoicing. We can manage our employees from here very easily, and we have a GPS tracking component. But again, you can utilize what you guys have in place today if you have that information as part of that. So this is just our dispatch scheduling menu. So what this could look like very easily is the ability to. I'm just going to create a new dispatch here for you can see this. So I'm going to come down here, select a customer. It's saying I don't have any customers. There are no items in the list here. So what I was trying to do here is create a new dispatch, but it doesn't seem like my data is kind of flowing here for some reason. But so what this does typically is in your scenario, TMW would be able to pre-populate this, and when I would come in as a dispatcher, I would be able to see a list of all the dispatched menus or all the dispatched items here, and I would be able to go in there and make changes to this if I wanted to whoever driver that I'm supplying this to or pushing this information to. So I'd see that list here, and I'd be able to edit that particular list. I could also add a new dispatch here if I wanted to, but obviously you would, again, be driving that probably from TMW. But the idea here is that I would be able to push these to a mobile device from this particular platform from there. So I'm not sure why my data didn't show up, but I think you get the idea that once the dispatching is available, it's part of this, and then I can modify who I'm actually utilizing that with to send that information from there. So from that, I can also utilize what we call the mobile platform here. So I'm just going to close this off here, and we can see the mobile. Can you see my mobile device on the screen?
Yep, sure
So
can.
so what I'm using here, Andrew, is a iPad mini. So this is my iPad mini in my office here. And what it gives us the ability to do is to send multiple applications down to this particular user. So I'm just going to go and log off here just so you see this. Do you have any iPad or iPhone devices in your office at all?
I have my iPhone.
What iPhone is it?
Yeah, 6.
Okay. So if you want, you can go to the App Store right now while I'm kind of walking through this stuff and just search for MobileFrame.
Okay.
And then there should be a thick client there that will be able to download, and I'll send this application to you.
Mobile.
Did you find it?
Let's see here. Oh, it's coming up with some. Is it a space in between mobile and
No,
frame?
just one word.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yep, it is downloading.
Okay. So when you get to the download screen, let me know, and I'll point you to this server here, and we'll fill in some information for you. So what this will give you the ability to do is, well, this is kind of giving you an idea of how easily it is to connect mobile devices to development platform. So, you can make changes, and I'll actually make a change to our application, the courier application, and send that off to you so you can see that real time. And it shows the power of how quickly that can be done. So do you have that up?
I'm entering the server information that I see up
Yep.
on your iPad
The
here.
52.25.42. Yep. So if you follow that exactly, you should be good.
Do I need a authorization key?
No, you're good. You're good there. So I'm just going to add you as a new user.
Okay.
I'll add you to a project here. So did it let you add that server?
It did. Now it's I'm at a user login screen.
Yep. So I'm just going to add you as a user here. Hang on a second, Andrew. So you're at this screen then, right?
Yep. Yep.
So if you just type in Andrew in the user login, I didn't give you a password, and you should point it to that server, that AWS server.
So it looks like I just got MF server on my options here.
Okay, it's the only server that you created, it looked like then. Yep,
Yeah.
let's try that one. And then just type Andrew and no password and hit login.
All right. It's yeah, it looks like
It's doing something.
yeah, it's saving a lot of different objects.
Okay, good. Just gonna make sure I have the right.
So would this also be the app that the drivers would have for
Yes,
as
exactly
the
this.
POD?
Yep.
All right, so I'm looking at it says Courier 6.0 driver main menu.
Yeah, so if you click on that, you should kind of see this main menu that comes up here.
Yep.
That it? You're in?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so let's just kind of continue through here, and I'll kind of show you this application fairly quickly. So again, this is how we've defined things based upon our experience with other proof of delivery types of applications, but this is kind of how it can flow, and we can make changes to this application, and I'll actually show you a change that we'll make to this application, and I'll deploy it to your device based upon that. So if you have the ability to select drivers here, you can actually as a driver logs in on that main screen. So in your iPhone, it's no different than any other app that you have on there. Once you download the Thick client, you don't have to actually access that Thick client go to Apple Store for updates or anything. You manage those changes internally yourselves. So once that's downloaded, it's part of the application, and then you would just be able to log in, and you would be able to see the different apps that are associated with you. So when I logged in, I have a whole bunch of different apps here, so you can send as many different apps down to these guys as you want. So there's the courier one or the proof of delivery one that I'm sending down that you just logged into, but this can be a driver vehicle inspection report. This can be an e-log. This can be a lot of different things of different types of apps that you can create and deploy to these guys, and then they can utilize that to kind of select the ones that they're utilizing. So from here, I'm just going to select a driver, Mike Smith, and we're going to begin his day. And it kind of brings up this kind of menu here. And again, if I don't do service tickets or I need to schedule dispatch and things from here, then I would delete that from the menu option altogether, and I wouldn't need to have that. But I can define different areas for pickup here if I wanted to. So I can choose this particular location, and then I would be going to these locations and scanning a barcode based upon the customer location that I have. So here I just scanned a package. I'm actually keying this in, but the barcode scanners work on this. So it's saying I picked up two packages. This may be a little different grid that we set up for you guys because maybe you're wanting to see the line item details in more detail, like you showed on your packing slips. But the same barcode that you're utilizing to kind of scan those on your packing slips today could be utilized, and it'll just pick up that same information and pre-populate what we call a grid within the application. But this is kind of defining the pickup information from here. From here also, I can actually go in and I can take a photo. You're just seeing my desktop there, and it'll attach a photo to that. So if you want to make sure that you're picking up non-damaged goods, you can do that. Even if you wanted to draw on it, so let's just say it was damaged, I can actually annotate on that photo, change the color, and I can just say, hey, here's the damage here. Let's make sure that that's identified and I'm not at fault type of thing for those deliveries. So I can annotate that information for those pickups also. So when I'm done with that pickup, it's just giving me a confirmation to say I've picked up two packages for this location and I'm awaiting signature. So then I would sign off on that pickup and complete that order. So from here, I can execute a workflow in the back end to send an email confirmation to either the customer or a supervisor or whoever you feel needs to have that confirmation information based upon that. So there's a lot of things you can do, and that would show the signature, the time stamp, all of those things of when that was picked up. So if you're actually utilizing GPS components and things like that to kind of understand delivery times, then you would be able to utilize those timestamps and things like that to kind of manage that process. So now I'm ready, because I picked that up, I need to make the delivery of that particular piece. And here I have to deliver to, I can go out and check the server if there's more information. But now it's saying, these are the barcodes and the line items that you've scanned before. Confirm, scan them again, and make sure that you're confirming that they're the actual same barcodes, and scan that information again. So on the delivery side, like on the pickup side, I can do another photo if I wanted to, just to make sure that I'm capturing that information. I can annotate that again if I needed to. So there's a lot of different things we can do to kind of maintain that. And then I'm actually confirming that I packages 2 of 2 have been delivered. Signature capture. I can force them to put their name in here if I wanted to. Some different things just to kind of manage that. And again, I complete that delivery based upon that. So you can see on the bottom here, Andrew, the orange arrows going up and down. So what this is confirming is that actually the information that I just collected there, the scanning information, the signature capture, the photos, all of that stuff is syncing back to the server now. And I'm going to be able to update the appropriate data sources, whether that's TMW or a financial system, whatever you want to push this information back to, you've kind of captured that information. So a little bit different than you guys, maybe more on the line item side of things. What we would show those line items in more details in the grid like I talked about. But is there anything else in that process that you guys would do or want that I didn't really show?
I think the picture would sort of suffice for this process, but like we have currently now on our PeopleNet forms OS&D, where basically at every order you deliver it asks, do you have OS&D? And if you select yes, and a further drop down menu comes that asks you to specify what's over, short, or damaged.
Okay.
But I think the picture process in this would kind of suffice for that, serve
Well,
the same purpose.
and that can be very easily another screen, and I can show you how we can make a change to that menu to kind of add the OS&D component to that very easily, and show you, if is whether it's a radio button or whatever, and we can deploy that to this just to add to that if you wanted to. But if the camera works, or it's a different type of process for you, then that would work too. But I'll show you how easily that change can be kind of made based upon that.
Okay.
Anything else, or obviously the signature capture?
Yeah, you might get I don't want to get too ahead of myself. You might get there, but I'll ask it anyways. That's the signature you gather. Does it impose it on an actual like proof of delivery type thing that would be emailed to the customer or something?
Yeah, that can be either emailed, and I can show you an example of that because I'm on my Amazon environment. I'm just going to jump around here for a second because I just did one last week here. Give you just an example of what it looks like. So this is an example of what it looks like here. So we can have, so this was the pickup confirmation. So this is just an email, that you can have in the back end, shows you the barcodes, the timestamps associated with that, and then the signature pad associated with that. So it gives you the signature. So we keep that embedded in the database, and we can push this information back to any data source to kind of manage and maintain that. Ultimately, the the web portal here that I'll just show you here in a second can be utilized too, but you can have the same shipping and delivery, so delivery and pickup types of emails that can be sent to anybody, and that can be in what we call the workflow on the back end. So you would embed an email address to the appropriate person, whether that's whoever. It can be the customer base. It can be a lot of different things based upon that. Make sense?
Yep.
But I'll also show you the web portal here and how you can go into this. I'm just going to log in here and show you that screen. Can you see my screen?
Uh, I just see the cover type screen where it says MobileFrame / TranSouth demo.
Okay, hang on here. So this is the web portal piece that I was talking about. So you can just see here, I'm in Chrome Internet Explorer, but I would point it to this particular environment, and you'd be able to log in here from any desktop. So this is more of I'll call it a management or customer type of portal that you can see here. So this is the courier management dashboard, and I can filter any information from here. I can refresh that information, but I can go through and I can say I want to see all opened, uh, proof of delivery statuses. I want to see it by driver. I want to see it by pickup or destination location. So you can filter the information based upon that. But on any of these, I can go in and see the actual information. Let me just find one that has some information on it. Hopefully a signature capture, but you'd be able to see all the signature captures and things like that. So I've got some data in here, but anyways, this is kind of just more of gives me a timestamp when it was picked up, when it was dispatched. Filter by closed. Yeah, so here. So this is the one I did a couple days ago. But anyways, you can see here that it was dispatched on, what location it went to, delivery time, actual pickup time, who the driver was, the signature capture, and then the photo that was embedded in that. So you can see information based upon that. So I can filter and look at that information. You can do different graphs to understand what's been dispatched versus delivered, etc. So there's a lot of different things you can kind of do to kind of manage that. So this is more of a, so again, this information, can reside in our web portal portion, but it can also be sent back to an external data source like a TMW, maybe where you have reports and things like that you'd want to see that information on, or maybe you already have. Do you have dashboards today that you look at that you would just want to populate with this information with?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so yeah, so then this is something that you may not even utilize, but it just kind of wants to give you the idea of that we do capture all that information and can either send that to an existing system that you have and interface that information back, or you can utilize some of the stuff that we have in place. That's all. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to show you how to utilize the platform to make some of these changes. So what we're looking at now is this is the MobileFrame desktop. So this is something that would sit in your environment, and you would have access to this, and you would be able to go through and you'd be able to set client preferences. So client meaning the mobile devices. Do I want to update the GPS? Do I want them to be able to see and log off forcibly and things like that? So you can set different preferences to kind of manage that. This is where you can go in and you can actually see the devices in a real time environment. So here you can see my iPad Mini for Chris Smith. How much battery I have remaining, free memory, free storage, etc. So I'd be able to see all of the devices here for all of the drivers, and you would be able to kind of manage that. So some of the things I can do is I can send messages to specific people if I wanted to. Just for you to see that on my device. So you can message these guys remotely, and this is a SOX compliant messaging that you can do. So I just sent a message to that device. So you can see on my device here, it just popped up, and I can respond from my device back to them. So you can send broadcast messages to all of them, and you'll see that response come back to the desktop manager. From there. So you can do a lot of different, so you can send remote messages to all your devices, to individual devices, a lot of different things. Your drivers may say, "Oh, someone just stole my my device," so I can forcibly log off from that from the back office type of thing. I can inspect the device from here. So if I wanted to go onto the device and actually take remote control, you should be able to see here the actual same screen that I see on my device. So you can see that. So I can actually, understand device information, what apps are running on that device, some logs. I can do some queries and things like that. So it's kind of it's an MDM, mobile device management type of system built into MobileFrame, which is typically something that you'd buy external to kind of support that. So we have that built into the system automatically to kind of help manage that. So that's kind of the remote manager. We have our own, our own device tracking mapping system too. So you can actually see the devices on a map and pinpoint those devices. You can do breadcrumbing, geofencing type of information there. So a lot of things that you may already have that you would just want to send information to. You could manage that also just with the mobile devices. I talked about my integration, our integration wizard more and things like that. So, but typically all of your, apps, the applications, and the Courier app being one of those applications, you can see I have a whole bunch of different apps here that I'm managing, and I need to manage those. So we give you the tools to kind of manage those applications. So here's the kind of the Courier dispatch apps that I was showing you. Here's the driver application main menu that I was showing you. So if I click on that, I can actually go into the design screen and I can actually see what we were seeing on that device. So you can see that main screen and some of those differences based upon that. So if I wanted to, customize this a little differently, an example of, let's just say I don't want the on-demand delivery to be there, and I want to add an image. So we'll just say we're going to add, and I'm going to drag and drop an image here. So I'm going to put the I downloaded your image. I stole it from your website here. So I want to add an image and I want to just place it here. And I want to add a label up here and call this the proof of delivery app, POD app. You can do different things here and change the style. You can manage all of this stuff. You can create what we call themes. So if you're developing more apps and more things, down the road, and you want to be able to, create your own theme or your own way that your apps look and all that, and have that consistent across all of them, then you would be able to create your own theme and then apply those particular themes to this type of application based upon that. So I just, I obviously made a quick change to that one. You can say, we're not going to utilize the scheduling dispatch portion of this or the service ticket. So we're going to change that, and maybe drag these things down to kind of modify that. Those types of things. Just some simple changes here. I want to just kind of show you how simple this is. So I've just kind of saved and closed that, and I'm actually going to freshen that project. So I made a change and I want to deploy those changes to my devices out there now. So if you go to your device, Andrew, you should see the arrows actually kicking off on the bottom there. And if you see the home screen button down here on the bottom, if you click on that button just to kind of exit out of the app.
Yep.
And just click those arrow buttons on the bottom here again, just to make sure that we're receiving those changes. And then go back into the application again, and you should be able to see those changes.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so all I did there, and that was, obviously that was very simplified, but I made a change to those applications, again, to define it how I want it to look and feel. Obviously you could do a lot more than what we did, but the idea here was to give you how easily that can be done and how quickly that can be deployed. So we give you, full tools to manage those applications also. So if I didn't like, what I deployed, I can actually test that before I actually deploy it. But if I also want to roll back, I have the ability to go back here and say, you know what, I'm going to go back into my release of 160 and roll back to that version. Then it'll allow me to save and close that and refreshen that and send that back to the device itself again. So if you should see there's arrows kicking off again. You can see the arrows updated. Just hit your home button again. Click the arrows and we'll check for those changes, and then go back into my application again, and you can see that it's back to what it was. You're able to do that? Well, I'm actually doing all this on the iPad and not the iPhone. Sorry about that. You got the iPhone, right?
Yeah, it's giving me like a little clock on the arrows now.
Yeah, because I was making changes to those applications in the iPad, not the iPhone. So were you able to see the changes that I made to that on your phone?
Well, I don't think so. I'm kind of lost right now on the app a little bit.
Where are you? What whereabouts are you?
It says on-demand deliveries right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's about the only place it'll let me go.
So see, one of the things I was doing here is I was actually updating that not on my large phone. So if you can see here, if I made those changes, and I'll just make a real quick change for you here just to kind of show you the change will show up on your phone. I was doing the iPad mini, so the only thing that I was seeing was on my device, not your device. to save that, and then I'm going to deploy that to your device there. So if you go back out of your device there, you should be able to log in here momentarily and see those changes on your device.
Now, when you say out of it, do I need to fully log out?
No, just if you click on the home button on the bottom there,
Yep.
it should log you out of the main screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then once you go back in,
Oh, okay. Yep. I
yeah,
see it.
so you should be able to see that change there. So yeah, I was changing that on my device and forgot that you were on a larger phone, iPhone 6. So, but it gives you the intent or the idea of how you can kind of manage that for sure.
Yeah, that's really simple.
So one of the things here, I'm going to go back into the design screen. So um, one of the things here we can do, so this is kind of that pickup delivery window and where I do my scans and see the line item details in the photo and where I annotated and all that stuff. And then I have my complete screen. One of the things I can do here is very easily add a page to this. So if I right click, I can just say I want to add a new page. And I'm going to drag this page down to, under my scans, and I'm going to call this the OS and D. So what are some of the questions that you would have on that OS and D tab?
It will ask you to specify whether it's overage, shortage, or damage to the
Okay.
product. Another question would be,
So I'll just to kind of show you what I'm doing here. So I'm adding a text field to here very easily, and I'm actually creating what we call a drop-down list. So here it's saying create your own drop-down list, and for our purposes, we'll do that. So what do you say? Over,
yeah,
short,
short.
and damaged, right?
Yep.
So, those are the lists, but I can also pull different lists from different tables, whether that's an external data source table that I'm pulling that information from, but I can pull from different lists to kind of manage that. And I can, add that step very easily to that question. And if there's logic in there, if I select, just going to show you, if I select, where's the OS and D here? Yeah, OS and D. If OS and D equals short, then I can have what we do is like an app operation or a pop-up message. We'll do a pop-up message. So if OS and D is selected as short, then make sure you capture details. Whatever the caption you want. And I'm just kind of giving you an example here of what some of the things you can do. What else would you have on that page? So once I've selected short and things, would you have different things to do, or
Probably just comment section. Where you'd say, I mean, I can't remember now if there's a prompt that asks you how many or if it's just a comment field.
okay, and that can be that can be a text field or a number step. That can be smaller. I added a signature capture. I can add a save button on the bottom here, so it does something to the app based upon that. So once I save, I can do what we call an app operation and just close out of that. Save and close, cancel and close the app. So there's some different things you can do there. With the save button, I added a signature capture. Obviously you can add a bunch of different things. I can do photo capture, drag and drop that over. I can do a checkbox list, but if there's things, and I could add another page here very easily, if there's depending on how I answer those questions, I can actually, launch another screen and give them a list of questions or comments or things like that if they need to kind of, so this can be, this can be a comment field here very easily. So I can enter comments there, but I can make that as big as I need to based upon that. So I just made a change to that application. Very easily added a new page just to kind of give you an idea of what we can do here. I'm going to save that. And I'm actually going to freshen that to your phone again. So if you go through and hit your home button again, Andrew, you should be able to see that change to that application. So you on the main? Have you been able to do that?
Yeah, I'm at the main screen where it just says TranSouth and select driver.
Yeah. So just select a driver.
So there's no drivers to. It says there are no items on this list.
Oh, there's no driver. You're not. Were you able to before? Or
No.
you haven't been. Okay, so I got to download some drivers to your device so you can actually navigate through that. But the idea here is that obviously we made a change to that application and deployed, those, how easy it is to kind of manage and deploy those changes to that device. What I'll do, Andrew, is I'll give you some I'll add some drivers to your device, and you'll be able to walk through the application and do the things that I showed you on mine very easily.
Okay.
All right, to kind of manage that. So that's the idea that I wanted to show you. We're very different from other, proof of delivery types of scenarios because we're able to customize that, and you're able to kind of manage that customization and tailor it to your business requirements internally yourselves without going to a software vendor to manage those. The key here also is to understand is that, you're not just worrying about a courier app, mobile application. You may want to look at the DVIR. You may want to create your own survey. You may want to do a lot of different things to put in the hands of the drivers or people in the warehouse, whatever that is. You have now a tool that will help you kind of manage that and create these different applications for these different areas of your business. It usually starts with one project, and then you find other areas of your business that you can utilize that. So with MobileFrame, there's no limitation in terms of how many applications you can create. You can create 50,000 applications and deploy those. Where the kind of pricing structure comes into play is when you add mobile devices to kind of point to those applications, and you can add one license at a time or multiple licenses at a time. There's a lot of different ways to do that. And again, it's not an Android based application that you're creating or an iOS. It's one application for all of those platforms. So did that make sense, Andrew?
It did. Yeah. It's
Okay. And
yeah. I've got a much clearer picture of what it is now.
right? Okay. So is there certain things that you wanted me to make changes to and deploy that to your device where you can show others, or is what's on there pretty good?
Yeah, I think what's on there should be good. Is the OS&D that's going to be really useful and
Mm-hmm.
relatable. Um,
If you have something
yeah,
on the OS&D in the paper form, or that you can jot down in an email, and I can define that further, I'll redeploy the changes to that OS&D page, and you can, it would be a little more clear. Obviously I just did that on the fly, but if you have some defined functionality within that OS&D that you'd want to see in the app, then I can add that very easily so you could show others also.
okay. Yeah, I can. I'll see if I can track down our form that uh, we have that on, and I'll shoot that over.
Okay. And I'll be able to make that change and then send you the revised of that and have you connect, and you'll be able to you should be able to see all that information.
Okay, good deal.
All right. Hey, I appreciate your time. I'm stopping recording.